taken received.
Alright, so, ladies and gentlemen, the very first debut episode of Chozo Lore. What do you guys think of that name? Chozo Lore. I'm biased, I really like it myself. But I'm just a guy that wants to talk about Metroid, but I don't have the friends in real life to do so. So instead, we got some people on the interwebs to do it for us. We have two very special guests with us, Dan Cattell and Darren Kerwin. So why don't you guys introduce yourselves to the audience, tell a little bit about what you do in the Metroid community.
You want to start, Darren?
I can if you want. Okay, so my name is Darren Kerwin. I run the Metroid community, Shinesparkers, and I've produced the Metroid fan arrangement albums Harmony of a Hunter.
I'm Dan Cattell. Right now I'm running the Metroid Cosplay community on Facebook. We just started last year.
Yeah, and you guys actually had a lot of growth recently in the past couple of months.
Yeah, it's really booming right now. I got into Metroid cosplay through inventing pixelated costumes. I used to bring my pixelated Metroid costumes to Otakon, and now I'm branching out to some others.
Yeah, it's quite lovely. I don't know how long I've been a part of the group now, probably a few months, but there's just some incredible work there, and it's actually I think you saw my post recently there. It's actually inspired me a lot to get more into cosplaying, because I've mostly been a watcher, but I kind of want to start doing it myself now.
Yeah, there's some really talented people over there. They're amazing.
Yeah, and I think I joined a few weeks ago, and I'm really impressed by what I see as well. Really, really cool things. And quite a few, I don't know how many years ago it was now, but you've actually featured on Shinesparkers as well, Dan, where you showed off your, was it your Ridley costume, I think it was. Which
right,
was
yeah, that was in 2012.
Wow, that's a very long time.
Yeah, the most advanced cosplay I've done is Mario at SAC Anime a few months ago. Nothing quite on that level yet, but, you know, there's still time for that. So, gentlemen...
Yeah, I tend to get to events. I was going to say, I tend to get to events as myself, and even that cosplay isn't very good. So,
gentlemen, today's topic of the day... I originally wanted to do some Metroid Prime 4 stuff when I was originally planning that out, but then a couple weeks ago, Nintendo just had to break the internet and announce that Smash Brothers is coming to Nintendo Switch. Great time to be a Switch owner.
That tiny, small game, yes.
That small indie project. Nintendo Nindies. But yeah, they revealed Smash coming up at the end of the year, and so I thought this would be a great time to talk about what we want to see in terms of Metroid representation, because Metroid has been featured in every single Smash game. Pretty safe to say, pretty educated guess to say that Samus will be back with a new stage in this game, and so let's talk about it. What do we want to see? Or actually, before we even go into that, do we think the new Smash is going to be a port or a new game? Because that could very much change what we expect to see coming out of this.
I don't know. It's tough to say. I think it's got to use a lot of the code in some way. I mean, you could call it a port to varying degrees. It could be difficult to define it sometimes, depending on how much they change in it.
Well, for myself personally, I think it's a new game just because of the fact, not even the logo itself, but just the fact that they're calling it Super Smash Bros. Working title on the official page. I feel like if it was a port, they would say Super Smash Bros. For Nintendo Switch or Super Smash Bros. Deluxe or something like that. Because that's what they've done with their other port jobs, with like Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, Pokken Tournament DX, and Hyrule Warriors Definitive Edition coming out in a couple months. And so I feel like if it was a port, I feel like they would have put that out forefront. I don't think they would have just teased Super Smash Brothers and then in parentheses working title, because I feel like that would be kind of a bait and switch at the end. If that makes sense.
But in games like Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, they didn't add too much new content. I mean, adding characters in that is pretty trivial compared to Smash Brothers.
Uh-huh.
The biggest new content they added in that was the revamping of the battle mode stages that were pretty bad in the previous games.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, that's the thing, we don't really know for sure, because the only thing we know about the new Smash is that Inklings are going to be playable characters, and Breath of the Wild Link is going to be there. And we don't even know if that's going to be a brand new character, or just an alternate skin. But besides that,
Right.
we don't know a damn thing about this game.
Well, my thought is that it's an enhanced port, combining the 3DS and Wii U stages into one game, including all previously released DLC, including new characters and new stages. So I think we're going to have New Donk City from Mario Odyssey, Hyrule Field from Breath of the Wild, or just Hyrule from Breath of the Wild. I feel that we may end up with a different skin, or even like a new Link, maybe. And then in terms of like Metroid, maybe we'll see a Metroid stage based on Metroid Prime 4. Depends how far into development the game is. I'm guessing not very far, but you know, with DLC now, who knows what the future will hold for that.
I agree. I feel like there probably aren't complete enough assets to reference for them yet in the game development.
Yeah. But my feeling is that it is an enhanced port because they want it out this year. And even though I can't imagine that they've been working on the game for a very long time, maybe 3 years, it might sound like a long time, but I'm also aware that Sakurai is in charge of it, so if he is involved, I am aware that he's got a hand injury now. I'm not sure I think that's a permanent injury. I'm not sure if he's going to be able to work as effectively. And that's just a guess at this point. I mean, they could have other people involved. They could have worked with other studios in order to get this together. I think last time they worked with Bandai Namco to develop the game. So it's possible that could be the case this time. And just to go off topic slightly, there are rumours at the moment, at the time of recording, that Bandai Namco are actually involved in Metroid Prime 4. So if that team shares information, it is possible that we could end up with Samus's new suit design in advance for Smash Brothers, and we may even get a stage, just like in Smash Brothers for Wii U, where we had Yoshi's Woolly World. We had a stage on that before the game even released.
Yeah, about a year in advance.
It is. Yeah, so it is possible, something like that. Assuming that maybe Prime 4 is released in 2019, it may be further into development than we think. So maybe they've outlined the opening area. And yes, it is going off topic there. The focus is Smash Brothers. So for me, I just want to see a game like Smash Brothers for Wii U, because that game was pretty much the perfect Smash Brothers, in my opinion. I think it had everything. I think it doesn't. Yeah, it doesn't need a big of an upgrade, to be honest. So I think an enhanced port, and then maybe 5 years of development for a brand new Smash Brothers further down the line, where they can reinvent things. So I'm firm in the belief that this is an enhanced port, and because Smash Brothers had restrictions last time between the 3DS and the Wii U, it meant we couldn't have ice climbers. That restriction is now gone, so we could see that character return. And there's lots of other things that could make a comeback as well to entice people to buy it again.
So I'm kind of mixed on that, because so here's first of all, I'm not complaining whether it's a port or a new game. I'm down for more Smash either way. I agree with you to an extent that Smash Wii U was the perfect Smash game, except for the fact that I really think they dropped the ball on single player. I would love to see another kind of melee adventure or a subspace emissary kind of deal, or preferably a combination of the two. Because I know a lot of people didn't like subspace, but I think the only big problem was that you had all these Nintendo characters interacting, but it wasn't on their home turf. It was in an original kind of area with original enemies. You had some Goombas and Koopas here and there, but for the most part it was original enemies that I frankly didn't really care about. I think if you did a subspace kind of deal, but with Melee's adventure mode, where you're actually going through all the characters' home worlds and interacting with all the enemies that occupy those worlds, but still have that level of production and quality of the characters interacting with each other in the cutscenes like Subspace, I think that would be really cool, and I would love to have that return in a Smash game.
And that could happen.
I think that I'd like to see Sakurai take another crack at that. I think that's probably high on his to-do list for this game, and I'd be pretty satisfied if they used the same engine as the previous game, and had the characters controlling basically the same way with whatever alterations they feel they need to make.
I do feel that they've had it on the back burner for a while. They've had it on standby for when the online service is released, which I believe is in September. That would be a really good time to release Smash Brothers. To have a game as big as that would be huge, because that will entice people to want to pay to play online and play with their friends. And I think that would be a really good opportunity, because you would need, you can't have an online service without any good online games, or even online games in general. So maybe we'll see some. It definitely, for sure.
Well, if they did release Smash with the online service, assuming they do release on the same day, they would have to make a huge improvement over the last two online services. Brawl was just terrible online, and Smash Wii U, while it was better, it's still, in my opinion, unacceptable when it comes to the quality that you would expect in a modern online game. I mean, I'm not really much of a fighting game guru, but I know for sure that I can play online with something like Mortal Kombat or Street Fighter, and I can get relatively, not lag-free matches, but relatively stable connections. But with Wii U, it's unless you're playing 1v1, it's pretty much up in the air. If you're doing a 4-player online gig, then you're going to get lots of slowdown and input delay. Input delay, in my opinion, is by far the most annoying thing about it. And that's something that absolutely needs to be changed, especially if Nintendo expects people to actually pay money this time for online, even if it is less expensive than the other ones.
For sure. They are.
I've always had enough friends in my neck of the woods to play plenty of local matches, so I never really bothered with online and Smash too much, aside from trying out that voting mode. But if they can come up with some interesting things, I'd be down.
Yeah, they are unproven when it comes to online, so they need to show that they can do online correctly, or paid online correctly, rather. Because there's other companies out there that's done it for a long time and can do it well. So they need to offer something that's competitive to what's already on the market, and they need to do it well, because people will be judging them, and as soon as there's any small problem, people will be on the internet, they'll be saying, oh, don't try Nintendo's online service. And I think they're big enough that they can improve it, but my feeling is that if they don't get it right the first time, we could be waiting a long time for them to fix it and get it right.
Yeah, because I think the big problem there is Nintendo has already had a lot of first times. I mean, Nintendo Wi-Fi connection, I think that released back in 2004 with Mario Kart DS.
It's 2005, yes.
Oh yeah, 2005, you're right. And then, which at the time for a DS game, that was pretty good, but then it went on to the Wii, and that was pretty underwhelming. And then the Nintendo Network on the Wii U, which was okay with a few games, but Smash was not one of those. And so I think Nintendo's already had those first tries, and so if they do drop the ball here, it won't be they'll get it next time. I think this is their last chance, especially now that they're actually putting a premium price tag on it.
Yeah,
well, they've got a really good system.
Was that they wanted to tie this online service into a Netflix style game subscription, where they're gonna have the virtual console type games, but with online compatibility for multiplayer. And I think that would be a big sell once that drops.
Darren, do you have something to say, or?
Well, I was just wondering, did you? I didn't quite catch what you said there. Did you say that that's something that Nintendo confirmed?
Yeah, that's something that they were talking about. I think it was about a year ago.
To my knowledge, that was just a rumor. The sort of confirmed sort of statement that they said was something along the lines of you would get a free NES game every month, and there wasn't clear whether you could keep that after a month. But
Yeah, I think the first time that they spoke about it, they said that it was a temporary thing, like a 1 month. You have access to the game for a month, then it goes back and you get a different game. But afterward, they described some other type of system where it was a little closer to the Netflix type thing.
Okay. Well, my understanding was that was more of like a sort of a fan hope rather than a confirmation. So I would need to look into that a bit more. But that would be the ideal situation, wouldn't it? That you'd pay £20, £30 a month or whatever. Sorry, not a month, per year. Sorry, my goodness. So you pay that per year, and you'd get access to any NES game, maybe any SNES game. And then maybe you could pay for like your N64 games or whatever, and that for me would be great. Or even just having all of these games under one like umbrella, where you could say, yeah, just choose whatever you want, play whatever you want. It'd be really great because I could say to Reese, okay, Reese, let's play Metroid Prime Hunters tonight or something. So we all download Metroid Prime Hunters and we could just play it online, which would be really cool if they have online on all of their games, because I think they're implementing it into older NES games, aren't they? Like I think Balloon Trip was one game. Mm-hmm. If they put it into Mario Kart, Mario Party would be fantastic for that, wouldn't it? Playing Mario Party 2 online with your friends is great.
Yeah,
because we're certainly
like that. I think is really important.
I was going to say, because certainly we're not getting any good modern Mario parties anytime soon, so that's about our best hope.
Well, we'll see what the future holds on that. I think Mario Party is a key title for Nintendo, and really that I can understand where they. I know this again; it's going off topic. So much for a Metroid podcast.
us off topic, never.
I feel that Mario Party, even though they do encourage you to play it locally, it should really be the option of playing locally or online, because I think most people who play games tend to play them online with their online friends, and I feel that would be the best way to experience Mario Party today, whereas before maybe you could get your friends around the N64 and play together, but I think those days are gone pretty much, at least for me. We don't have the time anymore. We're all separated now. I don't live near my friends anymore, so that would it might encourage them to get a Switch. But this whole play anywhere, anytime with anyone just seems to be like, it should really be online. The focus should be online.
I'll bring it back on topic. Metroid Amiibo Festival confirmed.
No. Goodbye. I quit.
Prime 4 cancelled. We're on to bigger and better things now.
No. Can't, I cannot condone this.
So anyways, let's actually bring this back into the realm of Metroid and Smash now. So one of my biggest pet peeves when it comes to Metroid and Smash is the stage selection. You probably thought it was the same characters, but no, it's the stage selection, because I believe there's been 5 Metroid stages now? Yeah, there's been 5, and 4 of them are all lava and acid themed, and it grinds my gears so much. The only real original non-fiery stage we have is Frigate Orphan in Brawl. And even then, going off on a bit of a tangent, why isn't the Parasite Queen a hazard in that? Why does it just randomly flip over? That's dumb. But anyways, I want more original Metroid stages in this game. I would love Sanctuary Fortress from Prime 2. Not only would that be unique for Metroid, I think that would be unique for all of the series that's represented in Smash in general. We don't really have a futuristic technological stage, and I think there's so many really cool things that they could do with a Sanctuary Fortress stage. Now, do I think that's going to happen? Hell no. I doubt there's going to be any kind of major Prime 2 representation in that thing. I think what we would get is maybe a Samus Returns stage. I do think that's come out recently enough to where that could be
right.
That could be represented in a game, and so I would hope maybe some Diggernaut action, but not.
Yeah, Diggernaut's like the breakout star of the game, I think.
Dude, Diggernaut's low key my favorite Metroid boss battle of all time. I love that boss battle.
Yeah, I feel that the Chozo Laboratory could be a good map, a good stage, because you've got that whole sort of like that backdrop could work in a Smash Brothers game, and it would be relevant because it's a newer game. But I'm with you. Sanctuary Fortress would be perfect. It really would be. It's probably the choice that I would have made for stage as well. Quadraxis speed a stage has would be quite funny because it just like come in, it's absolutely huge. It'd have to be in the background or something. Maybe his head would float by or something. You could stick onto it or something. I don't know.
Just as long as it's not one of those stage boss characters like in the Wii U games. None of those ever again, in my opinion. But I'd be down for it to act as like another kind of stage hazard, or maybe even a background element, kind of like the Metal Gear was in the Solid Snake stage in Brawl, because that didn't really do anything. It was just a cool background element.
I think Elysia would translate well into a Smash Brothers stage.
Oh, that'd be fantastic.
I just hope that we move away from Metroid Prime as stages and the original. I mean, we're going to get them anyway because they're massive games. Super Metroid, the original Metroid, and Metroid Prime are probably all going to focus. But I would like to see something from the smaller games. Like, I'll say smaller, it wasn't really small, Prime 2, but something from a game that hasn't really been shared before. Even like a Metroid Fusion stage or something, like, it'd be great.
Yeah, I would love that.
Technically, we did have Other M, didn't we? But maybe they'll scrap that one this time.
Yeah, I don't see Other M getting much representation in Smash, in the new Smash. But I could be very wrong. And if it is a port, it's fair to. Then Pyrosphere probably would come back.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm down with it coming back as long as I can turn off Ridley. It's a fine stage without it. But it's mostly just the theming of fire that bugs me, just because it's been so overplayed at this point with Metroid, and Metroid is more than that. In fact, fire is one of the things you least encounter in Metroid. There's so many other environments that you can use to represent that.
Yeah, in before Magmore Cavern stage. Or you can have Lower North there, it's your choice.
Or one of the hot areas from Samus Returns.
Yes.
Specifically that area. Now, actually, going back to your suggestion for Chozo Lab, I would actually totally be down for that, just for the excuse to use that wonderful Chozo Lab score by Daisuke Matsuoka. I love that soundtrack.
Yeah.
It's probably... I actually got to do a top 30 Metroid themes again, probably after Prime 4 comes out, now that there's been a bunch of music that's come out since then, because I originally released that before even Federation Force. But anyways, that's stages. Let's talk about... Actually, before we even go into characters, let's talk about the appearance, because we kind of talked about this a little bit earlier, but... if you had to flip a coin, what do you think Samus' appearance is going to look like this year? Will it be the Other M design again, like Wii U? Would you think it'll be a different design, like Samus Returns, maybe Prime 4? Something completely original, like Brawl? What do you guys think?
Well, for me...
Returns.
Yeah, I think for me, we're going to see the suit design from Prime 4. I think that they will have it... before Prime 4 comes out. I think they'll probably show it off. I'm guessing that we'll probably see a Prime 4 trailer at E3, which means we'll see what Samus will look like, and then that design will be present in the Switch game. That's my guess, anyway.
Yeah, I'm definitely hoping for that. I don't mind the Other M design, but it's definitely one of my least favorites, just because the actual design has a lot less detail in it, and I love all the intricate details that Retro put into those first two various suits from Prime 1 and 2, and even the detail that Mercury Steam put into the Samus Returns suit, so I would be totally down to see any of those return. I don't think it's going to be the Samus Returns suit, though, just because in that little in that Smash teaser that was released, if you zoom in, you can see how tall the shoulder pads are, and I actually have a Samus Returns poster on the side of my wall right here, and they go over Samus's actual helmet. They're even larger than the original Prime shoulder pieces, whereas the Smash teaser, when you zoom in, the shoulder pads are at about visor level. Which, again, it's a zoomed-in photo, and there's a bunch of flames overlapping the characters, so, it could easily
and
be...
it could change as well since then. We just don't know what the future's going to be.
Yeah.
It's just a silhouette.
He may
It's
have
not
been
Yeah.
using stand-in models because he knew that people were going to zoom in and put a microscope to it, and I don't think he wanted to give anything away unnecessarily.
Yeah, that's absolutely true. I'm just saying, just based from that image, it doesn't look like the Samus Returns suit, but
Right.
we're just idiots on the internet. We could easily be wrong, and we've been wrong many times before, so...
We're probably wrong about the whole thing. Like, as soon as E3 comes out, we should probably delete this podcast because we'll look really stupid.
Exactly.
Although if we get it
Relentless.
spot on, we should be promoting it because we're all psychic. So,
Prime 4 releases tomorrow.
But
yeah.
on the Samus Returns topic, there's a new version of the Zero suit that isn't in the game but is in the art book. The game version has the same Zero suit as Other M, but
Really?
the art book has a different pattern design on the suit.
Oh,
I didn't
that's
even notice
interesting.
that.
I've not noticed that before.
I thought the one that appears in the 4-hour ending, I thought that was the same one in the art book, because doesn't she have, like, the red pattern on her wrists?
She has it's very similar, but there's a lot more small thin lines in it. The basic shape's still pretty much the same.
Interesting. I'll have to look that up after we finish recording, because I never noticed that before.
But yeah, in terms of a new stage, I think I'm trying to think of stuff that we haven't really seen in a Metroid game before, like a Smash Brothers game that represents Metroid before. So, like I said, I would rather we moved away from flames and acid. I think we can do better than that.
Especially acid, just because those rising lava stages, I mean, that's been especially overdone at this point.
Yeah, something like a hybrid of organic and electronic, I feel, is the is what Metroid is to me. So, something with Chozo, some sort of like Chozo, machinery or something. So, again, like a lab of some kind, or basically the Chozo laboratory. I think that would be a good choice because it can be futuristic and it can be, it's within a planet, it's within a cave. So, why not?
Yeah, I would absolutely love that. There's another specific stage I want, but I'll save that when we start talking about additional character inclusions. I think Fendrana Drifts would be a good stage. I mean, we haven't really had a Metroid Snow level.
Well, there's definitely no lava there. So I think you're okay there. Yeah, ice is acceptable.
Spoiler, it includes the elevator to Magmore Caverns.
Oh, actually, that might work because maybe there's like an elevator in the background, and maybe the stage will actually drop. Maybe the stage is an elevator, and it will drop down into magma.
Yeah.
Ooh, that could be interesting. It could be like one of those or no, it could be like the Fire Emblem stage in Brawl, where you start in the castle and then you go underneath and then you go to the hell portion.
Traversing.
It could be something like that, or maybe like one of the flying stages that they do for various franchises.
Yeah.
That could be interesting.
Maybe the ship. Maybe you fight on top of Samus' ship, flying to different planets, and then entering these
Like the
different areas.
Starbucks stage?
It's probably too much, though, isn't it? I don't think they're going to do that. I think it's too much.
That's too much effort for Metroid. Let's see what else, because we talked about. You mentioned Alicia earlier. I think that would really be cool, and you wouldn't even because Alicia already is basically a bunch of floating platforms, so that pretty much speaks for itself.
Yeah, I think in one of the recent Shinesparkers interviews, the developer commented on how proud they were of the Alicia design.
Yeah, I remember
I think you're
reading
talking
that.
about Jack Matthews there, I believe.
Yeah, I remember reading that. He was saying that he was. It took a bunch of effort to get it running at a consistent 60, I think, which I can't even imagine. Those areas are so huge.
Yeah, for sure. It's a great achievement from the team. So if you're listening to this, Jack, well done, and well done to the team as well. It is a great achievement, and yeah, I think that could work.
Yeah, actually,
again, there's lots of opportunities for stages for sure, and there's a lot of original ideas that could be brought to the table as well that you wouldn't get in another stage.
Yeah, actually, going off topic for Smash for a moment, can I just say, oh my gosh, Prime 3 graphically has held up so well since the decade it came out. Like I'll never forget playing Gears of War for the first time on my Xbox 360 and being like blown away. Like, this is what the next generation looks like. But now, like, going back, Gears of War is so ugly. But like Prime 3, even when you're not running it on Dolphin 1080p, even just on a 480i, it looks gorgeous just because of the amount of details and the art style that Retro chose for that. It's incredible.
Yeah, it looks great. It makes you wonder though, if that looks great, can you imagine what Smash 4 is going to look like?
My eyes are going to melt out.
Yeah.
Like, I already know I'm going to scream so loud when that comes up.
I'm really hoping we get a trilogy re-release with Prime 4 on its way. Bayonetta just got that, so maybe we'll get a Metroid Prime Climax Edition.
Yeah, I'm definitely hoping for that too. We'll probably talk more about that on the next podcast when we talk about our big Prime 4 speculations prior to the E3 digital event. But anyways, yeah. Do you guys have any other more suggestions for stages, or do you want to just go straight to characters?
We
I
can
don't
talk
have
about
anything.
the purple dragon in the room.
Oh yeah. Well, he's too big.
Yeah.
He won't be there. Don't worry.
Well, actually, I, as an intellectual, has pointed this out on many occasions. Ridley's not too big. In Other M, he was the size of a Furby.
Still too big for Smash. Not happening.
And then boom. Actually, that's how you do. So his regular form is Furby form, and then his final Smash, Ridley, the actual Ridley we know, breaks out and just OPs the entire stage. Boom. Thank me later, Sakurai.
So I'm not sure. I mean, lots of people want him in there. I'm guessing that if he did get into the game, he'd probably play a little bit like Charizard from Prime 3. No, Prime 3, I'm sorry, Smash Bros. Prime 3. No, you might have to cut that one out. I think Charizard
Is
from,
that-
I was thinking Smash 3. That's
Is
what
that the
I was saying.
101% ending? I thought that was only a Prime 2 thing.
Oh no, sorry, it's getting on to midnight here. I'm falling to sleep. But no, Charizard from Smash Brawl. He'd probably play similar to that, I imagine. He could fly and he can breathe fire. It's possible. But yeah, I'd like to see him in the game at last. I think that would be great. Whether it will happen or not is another thing, but we can only hope.
I don't think he'll be playable, but I do think he'll be in the game in some form. He's been in literally every single Smash Brothers, either as I believe he was a background element in the original, then he was a trophy in Melee, and then boss battles in the last 2 games. So he'll probably make an appearance in some form, but if I had to flip a coin on playability, I'd say probably not.
Mm-hmm.
So what Sakurai said recently, or not recently, but with the last game, was that he did a test with Ridley, but he wasn't really satisfied with it. I think he'll probably try to revisit that and see if he can make it work again. I've always been a proponent of him using the posture that he has in Super Metroid, where his limbs are drawn in close to him. That would make him a little more manageable of a size, more like a hybrid Charizard Bowser. I think it could work. It'd be nice to see his newest version from Samus Returns.
The Barney version.
Right.
No, I love that Samus Returns boss battle, even as out of place as it was.
Yeah, I had some mixed feelings about it, but it was fun.
I think what that game was trying to do there, it was trying to sort of it was trying to show the connection between the baby and Samus, and show how important that bond was.
Right.
But I really don't think that Ridley should have been in the end game. It was just too much. I mean, I think we've got to the point now we can talk about spoilers, can't we? Because that game has been out for a very long time now. But I really feel that he shouldn't have been in the final game. I would have much preferred to have seen, if he was going to be in the game, I would have preferred to have seen like the opening scene from the Ceres Space Colony.
Oh, that would have been so cool.
I mean, they had the music for it, so they could, the music for the landing of Planet Zebus and stuff.
Yeah.
They had some Super Metroid reference in there. They could have just had the opening and had the ability to fight him.
That would have been like a really cool kind of other end epilogue style kind of, because you know how they had the epilogue after the credits. I think that would have been a really cool kind of small post credits section.
Yeah, for sure.
And then
something like that, I think that worked.
And then it could end with you escaping
or like
Ceres.
the Zero Mission section.
Well, but the Zero Mission section didn't end after the credits. I think that would have been a really cool specific post credits thing.
Yeah, but it came in where you expected the game to end.
Yeah.
Yeah. So like you get the credits and then right at the end it just goes, the last Metroid is in captivity.
Oh my gosh.
Peace. And then you have the intro. And then you have all of that, and then you just play, and then it just plays out.
Yeah.
And then like a big expanded Sears station.
Exactly. I think that would have been really, really awesome.
Yeah, basically my opinion on the fight, 100% agree with you, Darren, that I don't think it should have been in there, but
it was shoehorned.
There's a big but, and I cannot lie about it.
Oh no.
But I fanboyed super hard for two reasons. One, because while technically he's called Proteus Ridley, it was a clear reference to Meta Ridley, which is the first time, I believe, that any of the 2D Metroid games has referenced specific lore that originated in the Prime games. And so I fanboyed really hard because it was that first time that you really saw any sort of connective tissue outside of some non-diegetic audio cues and maybe some artwork.
Well, there's some things. Like, for example, the design of Samus's costume, starting with Zero Mission, with all the green lights on it. Those green lights came from the Metroid Prime games.
Well, that's what I mean when I say non-diegetic. So that's an artwork choice, but it doesn't directly reference a story element in Prime or a lore aspect, if that makes sense. That's more of a design aesthetic. And same thing with music cues. Obviously, Samus Returns has a bunch of music cues from the Prime games, and Zero Mission uses a leitmotif from the Hall of Elders when you go into the Chozo statues. But there isn't really anything there that specifically references anything that happens in the Prime games, up until Proteus Ridley, to my knowledge at least. I could be wrong. But anyways,
there's a lot of musical references in there, wasn't there, from Prime games?
Yeah.
I love that as well, because for me, I'd forgotten about Zero Mission having that, but there was quite a lot in there. So it almost felt like for the first time we'd sort of combined the Prime and the classic games together in a way. Like they were important to the classic games again.
Yeah.
And I liked that. It's like I really want them to keep doing that. I want them to reference Prime lore in the classic games. I think that would be really good moving forward. Bring them together, make them a complete thing, because the Prime series takes place between Metroid 1 and Metroid 2 anyway.
Yeah.
So as long as they remain within those two games, they're not going to get in the way of anything. So just keep them there and reference them beyond Metroid 2.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think they're too highly acclaimed to ignore.
For sure.
Absolutely. And while I do think the Ridley boss battle was shoehorned in, I think the way they tied... they referenced Metroid Prime. I don't think that in itself was shoehorned. It wasn't like, hey guys, look, do you see where we're pointing? We're doing the thing. It was very... The actual referencing to Prime itself was very subtle, which I liked.
Right.
And then, of course, the second thing I love about that boss battle is the last time we fought Ridley was Other M, and so this was a nice change of pace.
It just felt like it was the only game that Ridley hadn't really made an appearance in, and I was just kind of... It was nice to not have to fight him every time.
Yeah.
For every game.
No, yeah, I totally agree with that.
But, you know, we see so much of him, and there's so many different, you know, bosses. I mean, it was a breath of fresh air when we got to face Phantoon in Other M. You know, I thought that was really great. A Nightmare, something like that. You know, what about Ceres? You know, let's bring Ceres back, or Botwoon or something like that, and have that as a fight. I don't know, just something new. We didn't need to have.
Or more original boss battles. I mean, again, Diggernaut is my favorite boss battle of all time now.
Yeah. I thought you were just joking when you said that. I thought you were being facetious.
Oh no, I'm being... I love that Diggernaut battle so much. Quadroxus was my favorite up until that point, but...
Yeah.
But yeah, I love Diggernaut.
I suppose they felt obligated due to his popularity.
Yeah, probably.
And it does sort of tie into the Super Metroid intro too, so it wasn't
kind of. I do prefer the way the original and AM2 are ended though, because I love the peaceful style ending where it's just like you just exterminated an entire planet. There's no other opposition, and it's kind of this bittersweet moment where you're like, well, I didn't completely go genocidal on these creatures, but I basically just destroyed every inch of wildlife, and while it's peaceful, it's also kind of a look back at the horrors of what you just done and kind of a reconsideration. Whereas Samus Returns is more of a boom boom pow pow action movie. Did any of that make sense? It made sense in my head.
It did, yes, it made sense. Yeah,
okay.
I'm just being...
They also ended up contradicting a line from Metroid Fusion where Samus says that it's the second time that the baby saved her life, but taking Samus Returns into account, that it would then be the third.
And Metroid contradicts itself all the time, so yeah, I'm numb to contradictions at this point. But anyways, yeah, we've so I take it you guys all loved Samus Returns.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, for me, it was. I never expect. I mean, that game should not have existed. We'd moved away from classic Metroid. I think I'd come to accept that we'd never see a game like that. So when it was announced, for me, it was. I was in disbelief, and it wasn't until I actually got hands on with the game that I really started to play it. It was really cool for me. I was very privileged to actually have reviewed the game, so I had it about 2 weeks in advance. And I signed all my non-disclosure agreements with Nintendo, and I was privileged to have actually reviewed a game for them, a Metroid game, and I loved it. I completed it. I loved it, and I was keeping that little bit of like post-game stuff to myself about Ridley, and I thought no one should know about this. Everyone's going to be like, oh, people are going to have mixed feelings about this. I don't know how people are going to take it. I thought I'm going to keep it to myself, and then I think it got leaked online or something, and then people were like, "Oh no."
Yeah, that got spoiled to me because one of the channels I follow, they were uploading all the music from the game, and I purposely tried to avoid it, but my eye just barely caught the Ridley, and I was like, damn it, no!
But the Ridley music was actually in one of their trailers, their official trailers, when they sent them out, and actually in one of
I stopped watching all the trailers after the E3 announcement.
It's probably for the best, yeah. But there was also this point as well where they actually released a trailer and it had the Metroid Queen at the end. I'm like, what are you doing?
What? No.
In America, and that was on like, and it just spoiled it. And I mean, in the UK, we didn't have any of that. Like inside our non-disclosure agreement, it actually said, "Do not mention the Queen." Specifically, do not mention Metroid Queen. And then they go and show it off in America. It's like, well, there's no consistency there. Yeah. I shouldn't really badmouth Nintendo. I'm sure they had their reasons, of course, but that was, to me, I was quite surprised by that. Very surprised by that. So yeah, but for me, 13 years without a traditional classic Metroid game. I never expected we'd see one, and now I'm thinking, oh great, we're probably going to see another one in a couple of years. You know, I've got.
I know.
You know,
Amazing.
it's amazing to think we've got that back. We've got both styles of games. There's still relevance for both of these games in the world. You know, it's been over a decade since we had the last proper Metroid Prime game. And, you know, it's a long time since we had a classic traditional Metroid. So now that we've got both of them around, it's kind of cool. I like it a lot. So, yeah, love it. I absolutely love Samus Returns. Not my favourite, but it's definitely up there.
It's my number 5 game.
So you've got like it sounds like you've got a pretty big list.
Well, I mean, Super Metroid's my number 7, and I love Super Metroid.
Oh my goodness! Close your ears, fans. Don't listen to him. You
I'm
know
not.
what he's talking about.
I'm not dissing Super Metroid. I love Super Metroid to death. It's just I like some of the other games a little bit better.
Favorites. What's number 6? Federation Force.
Oh no, that's number 1. Duh.
That's sort of a podcast because it's one of you brought me into.
I don't pick favorites with my children.
Oh my goodness.
No, it's
I think we need to hear now. What's your list? What is your list? I'm intrigued.
I thought I shared it with you already.
You may have done, but I want everybody else.
So my number one is Prime, then Fusion.
Okay, I can let you off. Okay.
Then Zero Mission, Echoes, Samus Returns, Corruption, Super Metroid, and I can't remember what goes after that.
But those don't matter anyway. That's okay. There's a respectable list then. And I have to say, Fusion, I played it again last year, and every time I play it, I seem to love it even more. There's just something really special about that game. It's a very nice game.
Fusion used to not even be in my top 5. I enjoyed it, but then I re-downloaded it again for the Wii U Virtual Console, and I don't know what it is about that, whether it's the surround sound, or just being able to play it on a big screen, but it just takes that game to a whole other level. And I was just grinning from ear to ear replaying it last year, and oh man, I absolutely fell in love with it like I never have before.
That's quite special, isn't it? It's nice when you can replay something and love it even more than when you originally played it.
Mm-hmm.
I think I'll need to play Federation Force about 50 times in order to get that feeling.
On hard mode.
Yeah. Oh, no, I've not even tried hard mode. Don't even go there.
Solo hard mode.
I played it last year with Metroid Headquarters. We played it from start to finish, trying to raise money for charity. In about the 10 or 12 hours that we played it solid, I think we raised about $5. And the second to last or third to last level, where you actually have to hit targets, they're sort of like lag dependent. So I actually hit the target even though it was on the complete opposite side of what I should have hit it. So it doesn't work online for that section, because you've got to actually hit a button that when you hit it, it technically isn't where it is anymore on your screen, it's somewhere else. So it's pure luck if you actually get it.
I remember that because we played through that together back when that first came out. That was a nightmare.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. So, yeah, for me, probably going to be a bit of time before I start to appreciate that game as much. Fun game, but I'm not going to get into it now any further, because some levels don't work. That's all I'll say.
I'll go on YouTube and watch the end credits scene again. That's about all I'll do for that game in the future.
Yeah, but no. Samus Returns, brilliant game. So glad to have it back. Mercury Steam did a fantastic job, and please make another one. Nintendo, please let them make another one. They know what they're doing.
It sold more than Fire Emblem Echoes. You're keeping that alive, so why don't you keep Metroid alive too, guys?
I don't think we know how many sales it got, did we? We didn't get a... I don't think it made over a million.
No, it didn't break a million.
The handheld title.
I'm surprised it didn't break a million, because I thought there was a lot of hype behind that game.
I'm not surprised, just because it's on the 3DS.
On the Switch.
Well, for one, it was released on the 3DS, and two, it released the same day as NBA 2K18, which was pretty much the main topic of the day. And I think Destiny 2 released like a week or two before that. Because you know Nintendo, they just love releasing Metroid at the absolute worst times.
But even though, I mean, the 3DS was a good platform for it. It's got a huge install base. So you'd think that more owners would have had the opportunity to play it compared to Switch at the time. In fact, was the Switch even out then? I don't think was.
Yeah, it was.
I can't remember.
Yeah,
it
the
was
Switch
out,
came.
right, okay.
Yeah, it came out
of course
in
it
March.
was. Yeah, of course it was. Gosh, I've slept since then. But yeah, it's the install base on the Switch was obviously very small. Maybe if it came out on Switch now, maybe it would do better.
Yeah, I'll definitely talk.
Who knows?
I'll definitely talk more about how I would like to see Nintendo release it in our next podcast with Metroid Prime 4.
Cool.
But anyway, speaking of Switch, how about that Smash Brothers?
Good old Smash Brothers.
So let's talk about characters, because we're approaching. I think we're approaching about the end of the podcast now. This is kind of the last topic that I had listed down. So we talked a little bit about Ridley. I don't think he's going to be in there, but obviously I would lose my shit if he was. Be really curious to see how he would be implemented. But I have a couple other character roster ideas. One of them, which has been getting thrown out in a lot of player request videos, which has been making me happy because hey, maybe he'll become a reality, and that is of course Silex, my boy.
Yeah. That seems to be a given, I think. If he's in Prime 4, that's a given.
And while we don't know if he's going to be in Prime 4, again, it's safe to make an educated guess. He's probably going to play some kind of role. But again, we'll talk more about that next podcast. But yeah, I would... I
just want it to be Armstrong Houston. I think he'd make a great character.
Oh yeah, he's the best. It doesn't get any better.
His final
Brilliant.
smash is he literally tears his beard off and like throws it Cappy style into another character and takes control of them.
Oh my goodness.
Actually, speaking of Cappy, going off topic, Mario's final smash needs to be the T-Rex. Can we all agree on that?
Ooh.
Oh yeah, I agree.
Instead of the generic fireballs.
I mean, if he's not a final smash, then it has to be a stage hazard for the Mario Odyssey stage. Has to be, guaranteed to be.
No, T-Rex deserves more than stage hazard. He needs to be Mario's final smash. I'm not giving in.
The stage.
Oh God. It's like you're just fighting on top of the T-Rex while he's just destroying Cascade Kingdom. It'd be Pokefloats 2.0.
But the final smash for me on Mario, I think, would be you get the final smash, you'd throw the cap on top of them, and then you control that character to destroy everything else. Maybe? I don't know.
No, I want T-Rex. I am not giving in. I want that T-Rex.
You can throw a cap at Ridley or throw a cap at Samus or something. I don't know. Samus with a moustache and a cap.
Oh, geez, that's an interesting image. Yeah, if any artists that are better than me are watching this, do some fan art of that. No Rule 34, please. We don't want to see that. But actually, Final Smash just reminded me of another thing I wanted to talk about because I've wanted to change up Samus's moveset for quite some time because I don't think her moveset really represents the full extent of her arsenal and what she has. And one of the biggest examples I think is the Final Smash because I think it was some kind of Johnny during his podcast. One of his guests mentioned that Samus has never at one point fired an FU laser in her games before. That's just a purely Smash thing. And I think there's a bunch of other options that you could do for a Final Smash that makes more sense.
Absolutely.
And the way it works is sort of similar to the new Aeon Burst, in that you have that analog movement aiming.
Mm-hmm.
That's true.
That would be a decent substitute for it.
Well, my idea for Samus's Final Smash particularly, I'd love it to be kind of like a Captain Falcon or a Mega Man type of Final Smash, where they press B near a player, and then this elaborate cutscene happens where something really kick-ass happens, and then that character gets thrown off the stage. I think you could do something like that, but instead it would be Samus's counter from Samus Returns. She does the exact same uppercut animation with her arm cannon, and then a cutscene ensues of her doing all sorts of flipping and while spamming super missiles and all the characters that got caught in that uppercut, and I think that would be a much better Final Smash, personally.
Yeah, that's a cool idea. I mean, I really like the idea of a final Smash being, something from a newer game, so relevant. So I'm thinking that there should be a cutscene where Samus goes into a monologue, and none of the other characters can actually take it. So they throw themselves off the stage. I think that would be a really good final Smash. Very powerful, and if you've got a low percent, maybe, just maybe, you'll be able to take enough damage to actually hold on.
That brilliant military mind.
Yes.
I hate you.
Well, I hate myself. But I think something for... I love the idea of the Aeon, actually, because that's relevant, it's new. You could have a similar attack like the Zero Mission Beam, also turns you into takes you to the Zero Suit's form, but it would be more relevant with Aeon energy.
The Zero Beam is kind of a misnomer at this point.
Yeah. Again, Aeon, I hope that they revisit it in future games, because I think I don't want it to be just restricted to Metroid 2 or Metroid 2 story rather.
They could make it
something with.
They could make it kind of like a Shulk's ability, where you press B button to activate different modes of specialties. They could do something like that, but with the Aeon abilities.
Yeah, maybe.
And then I also another idea is for Samus' side A right now. She kind of does this generic kind of shoulder charge. I think that's the perfect opportunity for a speed booster attack, if you ask me.
Yeah.
Maybe even like screw attack. Maybe she could just screw attack around the stage and hit people, and it would knock them flying. A bit like Supersonic.
Like as her final smash.
With the space
final
jump.
smash. Yes, yeah, space jump and screw attack maybe, just to do some extra damage because screw attack would probably kill you in one hit, wouldn't it? But like this, space jump maybe and screw attack combined would do lots of damage.
Well, I mean, in Smash, none of the damages are scaled to be exactly like they are in the games. I mean, Samus already has the screw attack, and that doesn't do anywhere near as much.
No, that's a good point. It's already in there, isn't it? Never mind then. It was just an idea.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, any movesets you'd like to see Samus acquire, or maybe even Silex, since I already mentioned him.
Well, I'm thinking of Silex's weapons and moves from hunters should be incorporated in some way.
And maybe any new weapons that he has in Prime 4. I assume he'll have new tricks up his sleeve.
I'm sure.
Yeah, you
Does
can
this
borrow from the other hunters' arsenal because he uses them in the multiplayer mode.
That's true.
That is true. Maybe they'll turn up.
He has the Imperialist insta-kill.
You see, I'd like them to, but I mean, even in like Smash Bros. Wii U, they had the opportunity of bringing those other hunters to the game, and they didn't.
Yeah.
So it makes me wonder if Silex would actually be in there.
I think it depends how well he's received in Prime 4. Because if I had to flip a coin, I don't think he would be part of the guest roster at launch. But I think he would have potential for DLC.
Yeah.
I guess the one thing that's different now is that it's a little more obvious that he's going to continue to be a recurring character, whereas back then it was just sort of, blowing smoke maybe, or could have been blowing smoke. Sometimes developers will say they're going to be doing big things with somebody, and then it just falls by the wayside. But he's made his few appearances now.
Well, yeah, because we've confirmed. Well, there's been confirmation that he was in the ship that was chasing Samus at the end of Prime 3. We know that he was at the end of Federation Force, so he has had a presence in the games.
Mm-hmm.
So I think he probably will. I'm almost certain of it. He will be in Prime 4, and then we've got potential characters for the future, haven't we, for Smash? So I'd like to see Silex. I think it'd just be nice to have an alternative to Samus to represent Metroid.
Yeah, Samus and then Samus.
yeah. I like
Speaking
Samus.
of Samus.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we have half
one other character I think to represent the future of the Metroid series, I think Fusion Suit is making her a little faster version of the power suit with maybe like the ice missiles and wide beam or something like that.
So that's actually another thing I wanted to talk about because so I think Brawl originally started the alternate costume trend with Wario in his original overalls, and then Smash Wii U expanded upon that by giving a bunch of other characters alternate costumes, including Zero Suit Samus with her two pieces from the 100% Fusion and Zero Mission endings.
Right.
And so I think if there's any character that deserves alternate costumes, it's Samus. She has so many different suits, and even her standard Various suit has been redesigned so many different times and interpreted in different ways. And I think, at the very least, have one alternate costumes, but I think you could pull from even more. Because, I mean, personally, I would love to see a Phazon suit or a Light suit or a Samus Returns Gravity suit. Oh, I'd lose my mind.
That was beautiful.
But I like the civilian clothing as well, even like the civilian clothing from Other M. But the artwork from is it Fusion or Zero Missions galleries and stuff where she sat at the bar having a drink and she's in like the sort of orange bikini or something, whatever.
Yeah, that's Zero Mission.
Yeah, I think that could work really well.
Well, that's already in Smash Wii U.
Oh, of course it is. Yeah, I remember that. I didn't used to use the alt costumes, but yeah, I remember it's. There's already quite a selection.
She had
for sure.
the civilian costume
Bring
at
that
the
back.
end of Other M, and the military outfit. During the game.
But yeah, bring those back.
The Bailey costume at the end of Sam.
Maybe even bring back the original Super Metroid design that was used in the first two Smashes, because while that's probably one of my least favorite, I know a lot of people love that design, and that would make them really happy.
Yeah. It's iconic, isn't it?
Mm-hmm. Because I personally love all the neon green lights and all the stuff they added, but some people like that more trimmed down approach.
I'm trying to think of other characters that I'd like to see. I mean, you could go out to Malkovich.
he just shoots everybody in the back with his ice pistol.
That is true.
But obviously, my most requested character, and I don't think that she'll be in, is Dark Samus. I think if there was a time for Dark Samus, it would have been Smash Wii U. But now that we're kind of going into Prime 4, and I assume Phazon isn't really going to be touched on again, but I mean, who knows what they'll do with that. But I think because of that, I think as a result, Dark Samus kind of, her time is up in terms of, I think she'll be...
Yeah, she got the assist trophy.
Yeah. But I want
That's about as much as you can ask for.
I want her playable. I've wanted her playable since even before Brawl, because she has such a unique moveset. Although knowing Sakurai, she'd just be cloned up. But, but like, I mean, I think for her final Smash, what you could easily do is have her split two different AIs, kind of like she did in the Prime 3 final battle. And then those AIs, they could be like level 7 or level 8s, and they could just join you in the fight. And that would just be a really unique final Smash across the board, because nobody else really has anything like that.
It'd be a tricky one to actually... I mean, there might be ways of identifying who those clones are, you know. So I'm not sure.
It could be like in Prime 3 where the visor is darkened out instead of brightly lit.
Possibly.
And then you could also, because when a character is a CPU, they have that little CPU thing above them instead of P1, P2, so I think that would also be able to differentiate them a bit.
True.
And then also going off alternate costumes, dude, you got the Prime 2 look as well as the final battle in Prime 2 look as well.
Mm-hmm.
So you could have a couple of alternate costume ideas there, but that's just cherry on the top. I just want Dark Samus. And then, go on.
How do you feel about one of those Chozo warriors from like the Chozo in Samus Returns? I can't think right now. The cutscenes, those. Maybe one of those as a fighting character. Maybe Chozo. with all the technology that they've got.
I think there's potential for that. Maybe in the
Or
future.
Luminoth, maybe.
Maybe in the future when we actually see them in action, because we've only seen still images of their past. We haven't seen. Yeah, we've never seen a fully animated Chozo before outside of a Torizo statue. So I think maybe if Metroid Prime, or not Metroid Prime, if Metroid 5 does go off of where those Chozo memories left off, and it does delve into those betraying Chozo, then yeah, I could see that there's potential for a playable Chozo character. I'm down for that.
Oh, also, can I just go off topic slightly with the Chozo memories? That last Chozo memory, when the screen went all red, oh my goodness, I wasn't expecting that.
Oh, dude, I just went dead silent. My mouth just dropped. My eyes. I could literally feel my heartbeat just stop.
One of my friends actually started crying. Apparently, he's really shook by it. I was like, oh my god.
Well, because I didn't look at any of the memories until I 100% of the game, so I'm just looking through and I'm like, oh, okay, this is kind of cute. It's just basically retelling the story of how the Chozo got into SR3D8 and how they fucked up and had to get out of there. And so, okay, that's kind of cute. Not really expanding it. All of a sudden, the last one.
Yeah, I know.
whatever that music that was playing at the end, I was just like, what? So yeah,
that was.
So yeah, that was amazing. Yeah, unless you guys have anything else to add, I think this is a good place to end. We got a pretty hefty podcast in tonight.
Oh, it's been fun. There's so much more that I could talk about. There's loads. It's a great series, and I'm really excited that it's relevant again. It's big. Everyone is talking about it, and Smash Brothers is an even better way of building on that hype. Because I imagine we're going to get Prime 4 after Smash. So
yeah,
it will help, I'm sure.
Yeah, for sure. If there's one thing that Smash is known for, it's always representing those underrated franchises, and so Smash is always a great opportunity to get Metroid in the spotlight again.
Yeah, for sure.
So yeah, that about wraps up our first debut episode of the Chozo Lore podcast. Dan, why don't you tell everyone where they can find you?
Okay, do you want to go first this time, Dan?
Sure. My username is Dan Cattell Art. It's Cattell. I post lots of Metroid art and pixelated costumes, mostly based on Super Metroid and some of the classic games. And my community that we're just starting up in the last year is called Metroid Cosplay, and we're on Facebook.
Yeah, and for me, it's literally just, if you want to find me, just follow Shinesparkers. I guess Shinesparkers on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, pretty much anywhere. Just type Shinesparkers and just follow us on social media, because that's where we post a lot of cool stuff, whether it be news, featured content, or just cool photographs. I mean, the other day on Instagram, I was just posting Samus in the snow, which was just silly little things like that, but it's cool to follow and look at, I guess. And then you never know, one update might be an interview, so you just don't know what you're going to get. So just keep following. And then if you want to follow me privately, private account, you can do so by going to at Darren Kerwin, Kerwin. You can find that on Twitter. Don't add me to Facebook because I won't accept you because I don't like you. But no, Twitter's the best place to catch me. Definitely.
Shade.
Yeah, that's about it, really.
All right, well, gentlemen, thank you very much, and hopefully we will see you next mission.
Thanks for having us. Bye.
Take care.
Bye-bye.